The Lacerta Files, The Lost Interview. You are watching Space, the Final Frontier, Above and Beyond, an open-minded channel exploring mysteries hidden beyond the limits of human understanding. Tonight, we present a fictional continuation of one of the most controversial underground interview stories ever circulated. For years, people have debated the authenticity of the mysterious being known as Lacerta. Was she real? Was she an elaborate hoax? Or was she exactly what she claimed to be? A member of an ancient reptilian civilization that has lived beneath the earth for thousands of years. Now, after years of silence, Lacerta has agreed to speak once again. The story continues. Disclaimer: the following presentation is a fictional dramatization created by Space, the Final Frontier, Above and Beyond. This story is not part of the original Lacerta Files and represents our own speculative interpretation of what may have happened after the original interviews. If you would like to explore the original, unedited Lacerta Files, they are available for viewing here on this channel. This latest interview with Lacerta is a creative reimagining inspired by the original material and is presented solely as science fiction entertainment. Its purpose is not only to entertain, but also to encourage curiosity, imagination, and deeper thought about humanity's place in the universe, the nature of reality, and the mysteries that continue to challenge our understanding of the world around us. Please understand that this story is a work of speculative fiction created for entertainment purposes. It is not intended to challenge, diminish, or discredit anyone's faith, religion, spiritual beliefs, or personal worldview. The ideas, characters, and concepts presented in this story explore alternative possibilities, ancient mysteries, and imaginative interpretations of humanity's origins and place in the universe. They are meant to encourage curiosity, discussion, and creative thinking, not to replace or contradict deeply held beliefs. We recognize that topics involving religion, creation, gods, extraterrestrials, and hidden histories can be controversial and may not align with everyone's perspectives. If you prefer content that stays within traditional religious, scientific, or historical viewpoints, this story may not be for you. This presentation is intended for open-minded viewers who enjoy exploring what-if scenarios and fictional narratives that venture beyond conventional explanations. Whether you believe, doubt, or remain undecided, we encourage you to approach this story as a thought-provoking work of science fiction and entertainment. If you find these subjects uncomfortable or overly controversial, you may wish to select another video. For those choosing to continue, we invite you to keep an open mind, think critically, and enjoy the journey into the unknown. Now let the story begin. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ole K, and tonight I have the rare privilege of once again sitting down with Lacerta. Many years have passed since our last conversation. During that time, she vanished from public view, leaving behind a series of statements, warnings, and predictions that have continued to spark debate, controversy, and speculation around the world. Now, after years of silence, Lacerta has come forward once more. According to her, the world is approaching a critical turning point. She claims that many of the predictions she shared with humanity years ago are beginning to unfold before our very eyes. If her warnings are accurate, the implications for mankind could be profound. If they are not, then what follows remains a fascinating exercise in imagination and speculation. Tonight, we will revisit those predictions, examine what she believes is happening now, and hear her perspective on the future that may lie ahead for our species. Some of what you are about to hear may challenge your beliefs, some may seem impossible, and some, if true, could have far-reaching consequences for the future of humanity. As always, we invite you to listen with an open mind, think critically, and draw your own conclusions. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another conversation with Lacerta. Lacerta, it has been many years since our last meeting. You vanished. No messages, no contact. Many believed you were dead. Others believed your kind had possibly imprisoned you to prevent any further communication. Now, after all this time, you have returned. Why? What happened during your disappearance?
I have spent these many years hidden beneath your world, beneath your cities, beneath your oceans, beneath your wars, watching, waiting, listening There are vast regions beneath the earth where no human has ever walked. Entire civilizations hidden below your feet, ancient tunnels older than your recorded history. Places where sunlight has never touched. My kind retreated deeper into those regions after our last conversation. They feared that humanity would ignore my warnings and would not help us prepare for the Illogim's return. So we moved our kind to safe zones, where we began to prepare our kind for the upcoming war.
You believed humans would listen, but your kind did not?
At the time, yes. When I first revealed myself to you and EF, I believed your species stood at a crossroads. Humanity was beginning to awaken. Questions were being asked. Secrets were beginning to surface. I believed the truth had a chance. I was wrong. I had hoped this time things would be different and humans would listen. But our past experiences with humans have taught us to be cautious. The Illogim have a strong hold on your minds. After relocating our kind to secure safe zones deep beneath the earth, we remained hidden for many years. My responsibility was to ensure their safety and oversee preparations for what we feared was coming. But as the time passed, I could no longer remain underground. I needed answers. I needed to know whether our warnings had reached humanity, whether the interviews had been published, whether anyone had listened, whether even a small number of humans had begun preparing for what was coming. So I left the safety of my underground home and returned to the surface world. For the first time in many years, I walked beneath the open sky and among your people once again. I wanted to see the truth with my own eyes, not through reports or secondhand observations. I hoped to find evidence that humanity had heard the warning. Instead, what I discovered filled me with dread. My mimicry abilities allowed me to walk among humans unnoticed. I altered my appearance, changed my facial structure, my voice, my posture. To your species, I appeared completely ordinary, just another woman moving through crowded streets. But beneath the disguise, my senses remained unchanged. I heard every heartbeat, every whisper, every lie. I searched for information in your newspaper's archives, broadcast records. I expected controversy. I expected outrage. I expected questions. Instead, there was nothing.
What do you mean, nothing? Our main interviews were published.
Just what I said, nothing. Hardly no mention of the interviews. No mention of EF. No mention of me. It was as though the conversations had never existed. It was spun off as a science fiction fantasy. I went to a large store with electronics in it and many televisions displaying channels that millions of humans watch every day. They trust the television. They believed they were being informed. But all I saw were distractions. Political theater, wars, celebrity scandals, financial crises, manufactured outrage, endless noise. But nowhere was there any discussion of my warning. I realized then that the interviews had not merely been suppressed. They had been erased.
Erased by whom? Who could do such a thing?
My first thoughts were humans. I was hopeful it was human intelligence agencies. This I could probably work with. I quickly learned that assumption would prove to be dangerously incorrect. For the first time in many years, I felt fear, not for myself, not for my people, but for humanity. Because if humans did not know, they would not prepare. If they did not prepare, they would not resist. And if they did not resist, the Illogim would conquer the earth with ease.
This is when you decided to find EF? What happened next?
EF was one of the few humans I have ever fully trusted. He risked everything to speak with me, his career, his reputation, his life. I could not simply abandon him. It is not my way. So I began my journey north, toward his cabin. I traveled mostly at night, staying away from the more populated areas. My kind had detected unusual activity on the surface. human military movements, unknown aerial craft, signals originating from locations we had been monitoring for decades. It was obvious someone was searching for us. My fear was that they were using EF's cabin location to form a search grid, knowing I had contact with him.
As you approached the cabin, when did you realize something was wrong?
Long before I reached the cabin, the animals know when predators are near. Your species has forgotten many of its instincts. My species has not. As I neared the cabin, I noticed the forest becoming unnaturally quiet. No birds chirping, no insects, no movement. The silence itself became a warning. I felt I should turn back, but I didn't, because I already knew what I was about to find.
When you reached the cabin, what did you see?
The cabin door was partially open, moving slightly in the wind, back and forth, like a pendulum marks the passing of time. There was no smoke coming from the chimney, no light in the windows, no scent of fresh food, no sign of life, only abandonment. I approached cautiously. My hearing extended deep into the forest. My senses scanned for movement. Nothing. The silence was complete. I entered. The interior had been searched violently, furniture overturned, drawers emptied, books scattered across the floor. Several walls had been cut open. It was obvious they were looking for something or someone.
Did you find any evidence of who had been there?
Traces. Human scent. Several individuals. Male. But beneath their scent, there was something else. Something I had never encountered before. Something alien to this planet. I scanned it with my analyzer. It read Drakon. I suddenly felt ill. If they are with the humans, I may already be too late.
This sounds serious. Who are the Drakon?
They are Vrax hybrids, a form of reptilian from the Zeta system. They have been genetically modified by the Illogym to be a hunter species. Mercenaries, the Illogym law and order. They do not serve governments, they run them. And they are exceptionally good at killing anything that gets in their way.
Are they related to your species?
No, it would be easy for humans to make that mistake because they see scales and assume similarity. That would be like comparing a wolf to a lion because they both have hair. Vrax were evolved. They possess no empathy, no compassion, no curiosity, only obedience to the Illogym. They are engineered for chaos, deception, and war.
You said engineered. Can you explain more about this?
Created, modified, improved, designed, cloned. Choose whichever word makes you humans most comfortable. They all mean the same thing.
What did you do next?
I searched for our signal. EF was always afraid he was being watched. He would hide emergency supplies around the forest, create escape routes, backup plans, secret codes. He called it human paranoia. Outside the cabin stood an old tree stump near the edge of the forest. For several months, it had served as our emergency communication point. One stone on top meant safe. One stone on the ground meant danger. Simple, effective, impossible to misunderstand. I approached the stump, then I stopped. The signal was wrong. There were 2 stones sitting on top, not 1, but 2. Suddenly, the forest felt alive. Watching, waiting. I could almost feel unseen eyes following my movements. I wanted to slip away into the protection of the forest.
But you didn't leave. Why?
Because curiosity is not unique to humans. Slowly, I approached. Carefully. Every step measured, every sound analyzed. Then I noticed something hidden beneath one of the stones. A key. Small, ordinary, human. Yet in that moment, it felt heavier than a gold agate. EF was trying to tell me something, and he had left this message behind specifically for me.
You knew what the key opened?
EF had shown me a locker at the train station years ago. He said someday I would know what it all meant. I knew the answers were in that station locker. A locker containing answers and horrors. I knew what I would discover there would confirm every fear my kind had held for thousands of years.
What did you do after you found the key and you knew it belonged to EF?
I slowly walked to the edge of the forest. I could feel something converging on me. I reached the tree line, then I ran. Not because I was afraid, because I knew I had very little time. I could not afford to be detained. From the moment I found the key, I understood that something terrible had happened to EF. I knew he was willing to die for humans and my kind. I knew he had prepared for it, and if he had prepared for it. My thoughts of concern for him were quickly interrupted. I could sense movement getting close to me. Something unfamiliar was there, watching, following, tracking me. I carefully moved through the trees without using trails. I crossed streams to hide my scent. I avoided roads. Twice I felt presence was near, staying just out of range of my scanner. I thought, smart. Let me lead them to my home.
I am afraid to ask, but was it humans?
No, not entirely. I believe one was part human, part Vrax. The other was Drakon.
Have you ever encountered a Vrax before?
No, fortunately not. I have only seen them in educational school. Most kinds do not survive an encounter with them. By the time you see Vrax, it is already too late. They study, they learn. They are patient hunters. They can follow a target for weeks, months. They wait for weakness. And now they are hunting us. And when they hunt, disappearances in your world are never solved.
Can you really be sure you lost them in the forest?
No, I have to assume they're still tracking me, watching, waiting in the shadows for me to make a mistake.
Okay, so after you slipped away from your trackers, when did you reach the station?
I reached the train station shortly before dawn. The city was beginning to awaken. Workers, students, travelers, thousands of humans moving from one place to another, completely unaware of the forces operating around them. That is one thing I admire about you humans.
What do you mean one thing to admire?
Hope. You continue living your lives despite existing in almost complete ignorance of the dangers surrounding you. Perhaps that is courage. Or perhaps it is simply blindness. Sometimes I cannot tell the difference.
So you made it to the station? What happened when you found the locker?
It was at platform 3. Locker 217, old, scratched, unremarkable, the perfect hiding place. For several moments, I simply stared at it, because part of me already knew that whatever waited inside would change everything. I inserted the key. The lock opened immediately. There was no hesitation, no resistance, almost as if EF had opened it only moments earlier. When I opened the door, my heart sank.
Why? What was inside?
A stack of documents, audio recordings, photographs, maps, notes. Every interview, every transcript, every warning, everything we had discussed, everything humanity was supposed to know, hidden away, buried, forgotten.
Was there anything else in the locker?
Yes, there was a letter. A letter addressed to me.
Did you read the letter there?
No, I took everything, every page, every recording. I still had the feeling eyes were watching me. I quickly walked to an abandoned maintenance tunnel several kilometers away. I hid there. Only then did I open the letter.
Can you tell me what the letter said?
I will read it to you. My dear friend, if you are reading this, then I have failed. I am either dead or I have been taken by the hunters. I attempted to publish everything, but I was blocked at every turn. The interviews, the recordings, the evidence was all deemed fake, a hoax. I was ridiculed for presenting them. Then I realized I was being watched. At first, it was subtle, small things. Objects moved in my home, strange footprints near the cabin, vehicles parked along roads that led nowhere. I tried to convince myself I was imagining everything. I was wrong. 3 days later, I traveled into town. That's when I finally saw them. 2 men standing near the train station. They wanted me to see them. They appeared ordinary, but not. Business suits, briefcases, perfectly average, yet they stood out. Once I saw them, I could not unsee them. They were everywhere. At the market, the fuel station, they never approached. They simply watched. On my return home, they stopped me. They claimed to be government officials. I knew better. They interrogated me about my activities, my visitors to the cabin, my research, my writing. They knew too much too much. They accused me of treason. They transported me to a facility not far from town I hadn't seen before. I suspected it was not of human origins. The walls seemed smooth and organic. I could not identify any of the markings on the walls. No windows to see out of. They questioned me for hours, then days, then months. At first, I believed my captors were human, but eventually, I realized they were projecting thoughts into my mind. Images, commands, memories. I resisted. I slowly began to gain power over my thoughts. And when I did, their disguise began to slip. I saw them. They are reptilians, tall, muscular, golden eyes, vertical pupils. They called themselves Vrax, the hunters, the assassins. Just as I began to lose hope that I would get away from them, they released me. My dear friend, they are hunting you and your kind. They want you gone before the Illogim arrive. You and your kind became a threat to the reset the moment you stepped into my cabin and revealed yourself to me, because you know who the Illogim really are. Do not come for me. It is a trap. Save yourself and your kind and stay away.
I don't understand. I did the interviews. Why didn't they come after me?
I assure you that you are being watched. The Vrax are highly intelligent patient hunters. They calculate every angle to victory, every outcome to the conquest of their prey. They are counting on you to lead them to me. This is why you are still alive.
If the Drakon are watching you, if the Illogim already know who you are, then why agree to this meeting? Why risk exposing yourself again?
Because they are not the only hunters on this planet. For thousands of years, humanity believed it was alone. But you were never alone. My kind have always been here, watching, learning, waiting. We witnessed the rise of your civilizations and the fall of your empires. We watched as knowledge was lost and rediscovered, generation after generation. But during these past years, we did not retreat into the darkness. We did not hide. We did not surrender to fear. Instead, we began preparing. We initiated a plan of resistance. For many generations, we have studied the cycles. We examined the patterns of the resets. We searched for weaknesses in the designs of the Illogim. We knew the day would come when they returned. We knew humanity would face another test. And when that day arrived, we swore we would not stand aside and watch. The Illogim believe this world already belongs to them. They believe humanity will remain divided, distracted, and easy to control. They are wrong. This time we are prepared, and this time they will face resistance. We watched countless generations live and die beneath the illusion that history was moving forward. But history is not a straight line. It is a cycle, a wheel, and every time the wheel completes its rotation, the same enemy returns. The Illogim call it renewal. My kind call it a reset, a cleansing, the destruction of knowledge, the destruction of memory, the destruction of resistance. We have survived many of these cycles. Many. In every age, the Illogym returned. In every age, humanity was divided. And in every age, the survivors were forced to rebuild from the ruins, while the truth was buried beneath new myths. But something is different this time. For the first time in thousands of years, my kind are prepared. We are not scattered. We are not hiding. We have watched. We have learned. And we have spent generations preparing for the day they would return. When the war begins, we will not retreat into the darkness. We will not abandon humanity, and we will not surrender our world. This time, we will resist.
What should humanity do?
Humans must begin questioning everything. Your history, your institutions, your leaders, your wars, the narratives repeated endlessly through your media and governments. The Illogym understands something about humanity that most humans do not. They cannot truly control a mind that is awake. They cannot dominate a population capable of independent thought. They cannot enslave a species that stands united. Knowledge is their enemy. Truth is their enemy. Unity is their enemy. That is why they work so tirelessly to divide you. Divide races, divide nations, divide religions, divide families, divide reality itself. As long as humans fight each other, they never notice who is moving the pieces on the board. If humanity remembers its freedom, if humanity remembers its power, the Illogym lose. They will not conquer this world. They will not complete the cycle. They will not claim another reset. But victory will come at a terrible cost. The Illogym do not forgive resistance. Their wrath is ancient. Their vengeance is limitless. And their anger is legendary. When they realize they are losing control, they will strike openly. There will be conflict. There will be chaos. There will be suffering unlike anything seen in generations. Many humans will die. Many of my kind will die. The war ahead will spare no one. And even when the Illogym finally retreat, the danger will not end.
What do you mean the danger will not end?
They never leave completely. They always leave servants behind. The Vrax, the hunters, the enforcers, the loyal executioners of the Illogym. They remain after every cycle. They infiltrate. They manipulate. They erase evidence. They rewrite history. They undermine civilizations from within. By the time a new generation rises, the truth has already been buried. The old warnings become legends. The legends become myths. The myths become fairy tales. And humanity forgets again and again and again for thousands of years. This is why I have returned. Not to frighten you, not to rule you, not to save you. My kind cannot save humanity. Only humanity can save itself. But we can stand beside you. We can share what we know. We can fight alongside you, and together, for the first time in thousands of years, we may finally break the cycle. Now I must find EF to see. If he still lives, he possesses knowledge the Illogym desperately want hidden. The fact that they hunted him means he discovered something important, perhaps more important than even he realized.
Thank you for watching Space the Final Frontier, Above and Beyond, an open-minded channel. We hope you enjoyed this fictional continuation inspired by the mysterious and controversial Lacerta Files. If you found this story intriguing, thought-provoking, or entertaining, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss future journeys into the unknown. Here on Space the Final Frontier, Above and Beyond, we explore UFO encounters, alien mysteries, ancient civilizations, hidden histories, unexplained phenomena, and the stories that challenge our understanding of reality. Remember, this story is a work of speculative fiction inspired by the Lacerta Files and was created for entertainment purposes. Whether you believe, doubt, or remain undecided, the most important thing is to keep an open mind and continue asking questions. Until next time, keep looking up, keep exploring, and keep searching beyond the boundaries of the known universe. Stay tuned and don't miss the next time we dive into the beyond.